5.20R receptacle is not rated to carry the full 25 amps of the breaker. Therefore, a 25 amp breaker will not adequately protect the receptacle from overload. In this situation, there are two options. Firstly, install a 20 amp breaker. This will provide adequate protection for the receptacle and equipment. Secondly, replace the 5.20R receptacle with a 20 amp receptacle. This will also provide adequate protection for the equipment. It is important to use the correct size breaker and receptacle for the equipment being used. Using an undersized breaker or receptacle can lead to overheating and potential fire hazards. Let's delve into the specifics of electrical safety, focusing on the critical relationship between circuit breakers and receptacles. The goal is to ensure electrical systems operate safely and efficiently, preventing overloads and potential fire hazards. When selecting a circuit breaker, it is crucial to consider the ampacity of the connected equipment and the receptacle it will be plugged into. A circuit breaker's primary function is to protect the circuit and its components from overcurrent conditions, which can arise from overloads or short circuits. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidelines for selecting the appropriate breaker size based on the load. Understanding receptacle ratings is equally important. A receptacle's rating indicates the maximum amount of current it can safely handle. Exceeding this rating can lead to overheating, insulation damage, and ultimately a fire. For example, a standard 5.15R receptacle is typically rated for 15 amps, while a 5.20R receptacle is rated for 20 amps. The numbers before the R indicate the configuration of the blades and slots, which ensures that only compatible plugs can be inserted. When a piece of equipment with a nameplate value of 17 amps is used continuously, the NEC requires the circuit to be rated for 125% of the equipment's nameplate value. In this specific case, 17 amps multiplied by 1.25 equals 21.25 amps. This means the circuit breaker must be rated for at least 21.25 amps to accommodate the continuous load. However, standard circuit breaker sizes are available in increments of 15, 20, 25, 30 amps and so on. Therefore, the next standard size breaker above 21.25 amps would be a 25 amp breaker. The issue arises when this 25 amp breaker is used in conjunction with a 5.20R receptacle. As mentioned earlier, a 5.20R receptacle is rated for 20 amps. Using a 25 amp breaker on a circuit with a 20 amp receptacle creates a situation where the breaker will not protect the receptacle from an overload between 20 and 25 amps. If the equipment draws more than 20 amps but less than 25 amps, the receptacle could overheat and potentially fail before the breaker trips. To address this situation, several solutions can be considered. One option is to install a 20 amp breaker. This will ensure that the breaker trips before the receptacle is overloaded. However, this solution may not be feasible if the equipment truly requires more than 20 amps to operate safely and efficiently. Another option is to replace the 5.20R receptacle with a receptacle that is rated for a higher amperage if one exists and is appropriate for the equipment. However, simply increasing the receptacle's rating without addressing the overall circuit protection is not a safe solution. The entire circuit, including the wiring, must be rated to handle the increased current. In many cases, the best solution is to install a dedicated circuit for the equipment. This involves running a new circuit from the electrical panel to the equipment's location. The new circuit should be sized appropriately for the equipment's load, with the correct wire gauge, breaker size, and receptacle type. For example, if the equipment requires 21.25 amps, a 12-gauge wire and a 25 amp breaker could be used, in conjunction with the 25 amp rated receptacle, if available and appropriate. It's critical to consult the NEC and local electrical codes to ensure compliance. The NEC provides detailed tables and guidelines for conductor ampacity, overcurrent protection, and receptacle selection. It also specifies requirements for grounding, bonding, and other safety measures. When working with electrical systems, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician. An electrician can assess the specific situation, determine the appropriate solutions, and ensure that the work is performed safely and in accordance with all applicable codes. Attempting to perform electrical work without proper knowledge and experience can be dangerous and potentially life-threatening. Electrical safety is not just about preventing fires. It's also about protecting people from electric shock and ensuring the long-term reliability of electrical systems. By understanding the principles of circuit protection and following the NEC guidelines, electrical systems can be designed and installed to operate safely and efficiently for many years to come. Now let's dive deeper into the specifics of calculating your electrical loads and selecting appropriate circuit breakers and conductors. The NEC provides a comprehensive framework for determining the ampacity of conductors and the rating of overcurrent protection devices. Understanding these requirements is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical installations. The first step in calculating an electrical load is to determine the continuous and non-continuous loads. A continuous load is defined as a load that operates for 3 hours or more at a time. As mentioned earlier, the NEC requires the continuous loads be multiplied by 125% when calculating the circuit's ampacity. This is to account for the heat generated by the continuous load and to prevent the conductors from overheating. Non-continuous loads, on the other hand, are loads that operate for less than 3 hours at a time. These loads do not need to be multiplied by 125%. Once the continuous and non-continuous loads have been determined, the total load can be calculated by adding them together. The next step is to select the appropriate conductor size. The NEC provides tables that list the ampacity of various conductor sizes based on their insulation type and installation method. It is important to select a conductor size that has an ampacity equal to or greater than the calculated load. In addition to the conductor size, it is also important to select the appropriate overcurrent protection device. The overcurrent protection device, typically a circuit breaker or fuse, is designed to protect the circuit from overloads and short circuits. The NEC requires that the overcurrent protection device have a rating equal to or less than the ampacity of the conductor it is protecting. However, there are some exceptions to this rule. For example, if the calculated load is not a standard overcurrent protection device size, the next higher standard size can be used, provided that it does not exceed 800 amps. This is often referred to as the next higher standard overcurrent device rule. It's important to note that the next higher standard overcurrent device rule should only be used when necessary and should not be used to intentionally undersize conductors. In the case of a 17 amp continuous load, the calculated load is 21.25 amps. The next standard overcurrent device size is 25 amps. If a 12 gauge wire is used, its ampacity must be at least 21.25 amps. According to NEC Table 310.15.16, a 12 gauge copper wire with THHN insulation has an ampacity of 30 amps when installed in a raceway or cable. Therefore, a 12 gauge wire would be acceptable for this application. However, it is important to check the temperature rating of the terminations on the equipment and the overcurrent protection device. The NEC requires that the conductor ampacity be adjusted if the terminations are rated for a lower temperature than the conductor insulation. For example, if the terminations are rated for 75 degrees Celsius, the ampacity of the 12 gauge wire would need to be adjusted to 25 amps, which is the ampacity listed in NEC Table 310.15 for a 12 gauge copper wire with 75 degrees Celsius terminations. In addition to the conductor size and overcurrent protection device, it is also important to select the appropriate receptacle. As mentioned earlier, the receptacle must have a rating equal to or greater than the calculated load. In this case, a 20 amp receptacle would not be sufficient, as the calculated load is 21.25 amps. A 25 amp receptacle would be required. However, 25 amp receptacles are not commonly available in the 5.20R configuration. In this case, the best solution would be to install a dedicated circuit with a 20 amp breaker and a 20 amp receptacle, and to ensure that the equipment does not draw more than 20 amps continuously. Alternatively, a different receptacle configuration could be used, such as a 6.20 hour, which is a 20 amp, 250 volt receptacle. However, this would require the equipment to have a matching plug. Ultimately, the best solution will depend on the specific application and the equipment being used. It is always best to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the appropriate solution and to ensure that the work is performed safely and in accordance with all applicable codes. Let's explore additional considerations for ensuring electrical safety in residential, commercial, and industrial settings. These considerations include ground fault circuit interrupters, arc fault circuit interrupters, surge protection devices, and proper grounding and bonding techniques. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are designed to protect people from electric shock. A GFCI works by monitoring the current flowing in the hot and neutral conductors of a circuit. If there is a difference of more than 5 mA between the current flowing in hot and neutral conductors, the GFCI will trip, cutting off power to the circuit. This difference in current indicates that some of the current is leaking to ground, which could be through a person's body. GFCIs are required in certain locations where there is a high risk of electric shock, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. Arc fault circuit interrupters, or SIs, are designed to protect against fires caused by arc faults. An arc fault is a dangerous electrical condition that occurs when electricity jumps between two conductors. Arc faults can generate a lot of heat, which can ignite nearby flammable materials. SIs work by monitoring the electrical current for characteristics that indicate an arc fault. When an arc fault is detected, the SI will trip, cutting off power to the circuit. SIs are required in many locations, including bedrooms, living rooms, and dining rooms. Surge protection devices, or SPDs, are designed to protect electronic equipment from voltage surges. Voltage surges are sudden increases in voltage that can damage or destroy electronic equipment. Voltage surges can be caused by lightning strikes, power outages, or other electrical disturbances. SPD work by diverting the excess voltage to ground, protecting the equipment connected to the circuit. SPD are available in various types, including whole house surge protectors, which protect all of the circuits in a building, and point-of-view surge protectors, which protect individual devices. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, allowing the overcurrent protection device to trip and clear the fault. Bonding connects all of the metal parts of an electrical system together, creating a low impedance path for fault current flow. This helps to prevent electric shock and to minimize the risk of fire. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding, including the size of the grounding and bonding conductors, the methods of installation, and the types of connections that are permitted. Regularly inspecting and testing electrical systems is crucial for identifying potential problems and ensuring continued safety. Inspections should be performed by a qualified electrician and should include checking for loose connections, damaged wiring, and outdated equipment. Testing should include measuring voltage and current, testing GFCIs and FSIs, and inspecting the grounding and bonding system. By implementing these additional safety measures, electrical systems can be made even safer and more reliable. Electrical safety is a shared responsibility, and everyone should be aware of the potential hazards and how to prevent them. Remember, electrical work should only be performed by qualified electricians.